Now coming up on the Ron Johnson Show, the moment we've all been waiting for, the Twitter villain, I guess I'll call him. Good friend of mine, LaVelle E. Neal. When you think about LaVelle E. Neal, you think about Twins beat writer. But all of a sudden, LaVelle gets a promotion. He's big time now. So now he just wants to be a villain. Like, I mean, the world is Batman and he is Joker. And he enjoys the tweets. I know when the Timberwolves were losing, he was back there smirking and smiling because he could not wait to be able to talk all week about this over celebration. And so as we bring LaVelle into the show, LaVelle, I got to jump into it, man. Like this tweet, like you were a good guy when you were writing for the Twins, but this tweet here, you asked Mayor Fry if he's going to have, schools closed. There's a parade. This is after the play-in game. And you not only did that, but then you doubled down when you got on the air with Dan Barreiro. What's going on? Like, why are you antagonizing the Timberwolves faithful?
Well, I wouldn't call it antagonizing. I just like to point out that the celebration after the playing game I thought was excessive. It was as if they already won the NBA title. You got players taking off their clothing and throwing it into the stands. I just thought that it was overblown. And I was out watching the game at a restaurant. I had no idea that the NBA crew with Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith were also cracking jokes about the Wolves' approach to winning that playoff game. Playing game. So I would have loved to have the volume up for that just to see what they said. This is not the first time I have taken shots at fans. I love the fact that fans can sit at home or sit in the bar and rip on athletes, rip on coaches and managers, rip on front offices, rip on ownerships for not getting it done. But if you throw one little thing their way, they fall apart. I have jumped on Twins fans in the past for when they're playing at Target Field against the Yankees in the postseason, and people are calling ushers to tell people to sit down because they're standing in front of them when they should be on their feet screaming and getting people fired up. I've admonished fans in the past for when visiting teams come in and cheer for their teams. Let's go Red Sox. Let's go Yankees. And instead of just out cheering them with a louder "Let's go Twins," they automatically go boo. I would like to think that there are some sophisticated sports fans in this town that can remain fair and balanced until it is time to rip off your clothes and run through the streets when they win a title. And I did not see that in the playing game. And I pointed it out, and it's been a battle ever since. And that's fine.
Well, game one, they won with convincing, a convincing fashion. Pat Bev stepped up, played his defensive game. He plays. He tried to rattle the other team as much as he could. Didn't do a great job of it. But karl-anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, and Beasley stepped up. Well, game two, they fell back to earth. You got 20 points from one. You got 15 from karl-anthony Towns. It just didn't have the same energy. Do you think they kind of shot their wad off? They kind of gave everything they could in that first game. And then after that 7 play in, and that was just kind of just natural tiredness of being on the road, and they'll have to come home and rest up and play a better game to this week.
Hey, Ron, I just think that it was unrealistic to think that the Wolves are going to go in and win 2 games on the road in Memphis, which, people have said is kind of a hellhole to try to win games at. It was disappointing how they went about it yesterday because as Finch said in the Star Tribune, it looked like players went out individually and tried to figure things out by themselves. And you saw that. It was more like hero ball or people trying to, make up a deficit, the 20-point deficit with one shot. You didn't see ball movement. You didn't see that final pass. And Edwards, I think, had 1 assist. That's not going to get it done. They kind of lost their way. But that's going to happen in the postseason. Each game is its own game. Each game is its own story, and it's going to follow a different script. And you got to be able to adjust to that on the fly if you're going to be able to get through some of these series. And the Wolves are finding that out. This is Anthony Edwards' first playoff game as a professional. He's learning as well. So I'm sure there are some lessons learned from yesterday. Karl-Anthony Towns, started getting a little angry again and got in foul trouble again and kicked the player again while he's shooting a 3. He's got to reel it in a tad as well. So to me, it was mission accomplished for them. They won 1 game in Memphis. They have home court advantage coming back to the crib. And now this is a good time for Wolves fans to show up in droves to Target Center and scream like crazy for their team. I will definitely be at one of the games this weekend. And this is going to be a reminder that this is a pretty good basketball town. The Wolves fans have been beaten up. I have to admit that they've been beaten up by less than mediocrity through the years, and only making the playoffs like 3 times in the last 20 years or something like that, or maybe more than that, but just a handful of times in the last 20 years. And now this is their chance to finally be proud of a team that's made a big leap this year.
Yeah, when you look at, so you're a columnist now, you're big time. We're not going to just talk one sport. When you look at the Twins, and we've talked about this before, when I started this show, the Twins had not started yet. So we were excited. Carlos Correa, Buxton, they look good in spring training. They go out there and all of a sudden his bombs away. Buxton gets hurt. And now it's kind of the same old same that I've always seen the last couple of years I've been here, with everybody negative. Everybody's trying to trade Correa already, 10 games in. How do they turn the next 10 around and go 6-4 and at least try to get back to 500? What's the rest? I mean, because the Boston Red Sox game, clearly that could be a recipe for success, but how do they build on that and try to turn it around the next 10?
Well, the one thing that's kind of been mildly surprising is that the starting pitching's been halfway decent. I think Dylan Buddy's been effective. Archer hasn't been bad, although he had a little bit of a hiccup last night in their loss to Kansas City. It's been the offense, the team average, hovering around the 200s and not converting with runners in scoring position. So offensively, they got to get going. The relief core, Jorge Alcala's on the IL right now, and that's a blow because that's another power arm they could use as an option in the last 3 innings, and I think they're showing how that's affecting them as well. But to me, the number one thing is got to get the bats going. Um, uh, I have no problems with Rocco Baldelli's approach to the lineup when Buxton's healthy, and he should actually play sometime during the series. Buxton, Correa, and Polanco as top 3 hitters. Those are your best hitters. So the theory is that you want your best hitters to get the most at bats every game, and by batting them 1, 2, and 3, you will achieve that. And the rest of the guys have to chip in. Miguel Sano started out 0-19 before he got a couple of hits in Boston. Kansas City is his favorite place to hit. He absolutely crushes in that stadium. So I would expect Sano to be in the lineup tonight and try to get his back going and use the last couple of games of the series to kind of slingshot them into this big weekend series against the Chicago White Sox, because White Sox come to town this weekend and they're the favorites to win the division. But let's see the bats get going here over the next few weeks and see how that helps the rest of the team.
And you're a Chicago guy. So where does your loyalty lie when the White Sox show up? Are you a Cubs or a White Sox guy first, though?
I grew up on the south side of Chicago and automatically migrated to watching the White Sox. We were talking about the early 70s, and the White Sox had the red pinstripe uniforms, and I thought Dick Allen was like the most physically impressive man I've ever seen. He had the arms of life, and he would hit like these massive home runs. And then a couple of times I tried to watch the Cubs games, and I was like, why are there weeds on the wall? Why are the Cubs wearing pajamas for uniforms? It just didn't do anything for me. So I became a White Sox fan as a kid. And Dick Allen was one of my heroes. Harold Baines ended up being one of my heroes as well. Now, when I started covering baseball, I kind of had to tamp down that fandom because I had to be objective as a beat writer. And that's fine. So it's been entertaining for me actually through the years as a Twins beat writer, because it's been, the White Sox versus the Twins a lot of times over these last 25 years when both teams are going good. Torrey Hunter running over the White Sox catcher. Twins players getting booed at the All-Star game in Chicago. Just the battles they've had through the years. Ron Gardenhire versus Jerry Manuel, then Ron Gardenhire versus Ozzie Guillen, and now you got Rocco versus Tony La Russa, a legend of in managing. So both teams are confident. The Twins think they're going to be relevant, and this will be the first litmus test for them this year to show that they could be a factor in the AL Central Division.
And last one, we're gonna have to have you back, man. This is good. So last one though, you're a Chicago guy, so your Bears are trash right now. And on ESPN, they talked about drafting a quarterback at 20, and right now it's Pickett from Pitt. And they're saying the Steelers, that's an easy, smart pick, especially if he's going to give you Kirk Cousins type production. So in Mel Kiper's mind and Louis Riddick's mind, Kirk Cousins is a first-round draft pick. If he was in the draft this year, they would take Kirk Cousins at 20. With that said, they're also now saying that Kirk Cousins would be a higher, better draft pick option than Justin Fields. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, I think Fields has got the tantalizing skills, and for this, the way the game's being played today, these dual threat quarterbacks are becoming more attractive for teams. And the fact that he
Yeah.
can make plays with his arms and his legs puts him in a different category than someone like a Kirk Cousins. I'm not impressed with this year's quarterback class. I think if you put Pickett and Malik Taylor in with last year's class, those dudes are not getting drafted to the third round,
Right.
just
Yeah.
based on their skill set and their talent ability. So, but this is going to happen every year now. Whoever is a quarterback are probably going to get overrated and overdrafted, just because they are a QB, and there's such a race to get a good quarterback and try to cash in on his rookie contract by adding pieces around them once they're good. I don't know what the Bears attempts to build around Justin Fields are a little puzzling to me because they still need a number one receiver after letting Allen Robinson walk. They still need to
Yep.
address the offensive line. They've got holes in their defense. They got a lot of work to do, and they don't have a first round pick this year. So I'm hurting a little bit right now because I don't see a path to them being relevant in 2022. And it's going to stink now once they get to 2023. The clock's going to be ticking on Fields, and we still don't know if this team's going to be relevant or not. So yeah, it stinks right now to be a Bears fan. Watching the Vikings, I think that's with the Packers trading Devontae Adams, I think the Vikings have gained a little bit of ground on the Packers with some of their offseason moves. I think the defense is going to be better. I like the Jordan Hicks addition. I hope they get another corner, in the first couple rounds of the draft. Yeah, I'm curious to see how Kendricks fares in the 3-4. I like the fact that za'darius is with Neal now, forming bookend pass rushers. There's some things to like, and that offense is going to score points. So I
Yep.
think the Vikings are going to be better. And I was at Vikings Media Access yesterday. There's a lot of spirit and a lot of fired up dudes over there over this coaching regime, and the positivity that's coming out of there. So I'm putting the Vikings on double digit wins already, and I can't remember what the schedule is next year. I think they're heading in the right direction.